It proves difficult to raise a ripple upon our ordinary, everyday outlook. I want to try a short reflection which tries to think Heidegger's Entzug, or withdrawal, which might also be said as sort of revoking, or possibly one could think of that as something being forbidden. I want to try to think this Entzug or withdrawal as a kind of penimento or scratch hidden underneath the Socratic I know that I don't know. Socrates' doubt we can't take to be directly to be the case, because Socrates must have at least some knowledge of that which he speaks. I think of the Wittgenstein's saying in modern times, which is in a way alien to Plato, that they're whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must remain silent. That's a translation, actually, of a pithy statement of the same kind in German. But it captures this idea that there's a limit, and where we don't know what we're talking about, and then we can't go beyond that limit, and we must remain silent. But of course, in the early Wittgenstein, this picture image of language, that language captures everything, just like a painter's picture tries to represent reality in a one-to-one way, and then beyond that, we can't say anything. The reason why this is alien to Plato is because attempting to draw the line so sharply never occurs in Plato between what we can know and what we can't know. It's always, we're venturing out to find out about it. In a question like, I think it's better translated in a way, or more clearly to say, in a question, what is virtuosity? Like arete in Greek, but we usually, virtue sounds to have something Elizabethan or too delicate to mean what it's saying. If one thinks of something like the Meno, where Meno obviously wants to be a virtuoso in life, and that would be valuable to him, just as Caruso being a virtuoso opera singer is valuable to him. But this is virtuosity in life as a whole. So, of course, Meno really wants to learn what virtue is when he comes to see Socrates about it. And then this playful answer of Socrates, I don't know what virtue is, so how can I answer you, Meno? I have no idea what virtue is at all. But how could he be talking about virtue if he didn't know about it at all? There's this in the I know that I don't know. It still means that the first I know, he knows virtue, but he knows that he doesn't know all there is to know about virtue, or maybe he doesn't know the truth about virtue, or maybe it's that he can't define it according to this. He can't define it over and against other things or other ideas in a way that he determines it, or he can't define it in some other way as the point of remembrance, where he discovers it, as it were, in his own soul and recognizes it from before birth. In any case, he must know something about it to know that he doesn't know. And yet, this knowing is like something he seems to be, it withdraws, because one thinks to know what virtue is. Virtue is being able to manage one's affairs properly, not to violate justice, and so forth. And yet it withdraws, knowledge always withdraws. I think this our daily sense of our almost unbreakable clarity of our daily sense that we kind of know how to get about, and then even in the high ideas, we still think we know something, right? But I think the better example for our time is to go into the technique example. So Leo Strauss says, in 30,000 years, won't it be so that the science, as it's now understood, empirical science, experimental science, will still be making discoveries one after the next 30,000 years from now? It's as though we were supposed to get this scientific knowledge, but instead it's deconstructs itself, and we keep getting parts and parts and parts and parts. And it turns out there is no scientific knowledge. There's this withdrawal, this total withdrawal into nothing. And therefore Heidegger stares into that vastness, and he says to himself, this is a child's errand. Why are we going on this children's crusade to be slaughtered? But in effect, is this seeking after the 30,000 years to 40,000 years more of knowledge something which is other than just empty successes? It may be in some ways. That's hard to see in the bigger picture, but what Heidegger is saying is this is one form of human pursuit or knowledge, but there's many, and they're all true in this ontic sense. They're all gathering things, but they all don't allow this ripple upon our Dasein as a whole, which in a way makes us is the same as becoming aware of Dasein, which is they're all part of this withdrawal structure. All these knowledges, all these attempts to get from even the 30,000 years I know to the perfect knowledge of it all, then turns out to be the I don't know, because it's infinite. It's a bad infinity, the Hegelian formula. In any case, that was just a small reflection on that, but I tried to bring the sense of how we can understand what Dasein is into our casting through the germ of that image of the sciences which never perfect themselves, even in this modest sense that an apple becoming ripe is a perfect apple.